Alright, so 2023's Air is finally available in theaters. The film is directed by Ben Affleck, who people primarily know for his acting roles, especially his role as Batman, but he has directed other films such as 2012's Argo and 2010's The Town. The screenplay is by Alex Convery, who, from what I can see on IMDb, this is his first project that he's worked on. And in the film, we follow the history of a shoe salesman named Sonny Vaccaro and how he led Nike in its pursuit of one of the greatest athletes in basketball history, Stan from Space Jam. Obviously, I'm kidding, it's Michael Jordan. If you've seen the trailer for the movie, you obviously know that it's pretty much about the making of the Air Jordan shoe. And for anyone who is a non-sneakerhead or even a non-basketball fan, might not be the most interested in this plot here, but I think anybody who's mixed on watching this movie because of those reasons might actually end up enjoying this one. Going into the film, I wasn't expecting a whole lot other than a historical biopic slash drama about the making of the Air Jordan shoe. That's essentially what I got, but I wasn't expecting to get something else. And that something else is the humor. The humor in this movie works so well for me. It had the entire audience in my theater laughing, including myself. Not only was the dialogue very comedic, but it was also quite sharp. Major props to Alex Convery for writing the screenplay for this movie. I think he did a fantastic job with it. I can't wait to see what he does next. But I feel silly. I just got wrapped up in the writing of the film and how much I liked it that I completely forgot to mention the cast of this film. In the lead as Sonny Vaccaro, we have Matt Damon, an actor I very much love. I'm a huge fan of him in The Martian, especially. That's one of my favorite movies in general. We also have Jason Bateman in here as Rob Strasser. I actually really liked him in this movie. He did bring the humor, of course, because he's Jason Bateman, but there were some more dramatic elements with this character that I really wasn't expecting that he really pulled off. Then, of course, if you've watched the trailer for the film, you'll know that Ben Affleck is in there as well as Phil Knight. Phil Knight is the CEO of Nike, and Ben Affleck does such a great job with this character in here. He is funny, but also strict. We also have Chris Tucker as Howard White. Not much to say about his character, to be completely honest. He works at Nike as well. I like Chris Tucker, so I liked him in this movie. I thought he was pretty funny. Then getting to the Jordans, starting with Viola Davis as Dolores Jordan. What the heck else am I going to say about Viola Davis that everybody hasn't already said about her? She's fantastic, and she's great in this movie. She has one scene in particular with Matt Damon that I really liked when they first met as characters, and that scene alone, it was just them talking, but it brought so much to the movie and their characters and their relationship. As the father, James Jordan, we have Julius Tenen. Not a whole lot to say about his character because he doesn't get as much to do as Viola Davis does, but still liked him in the movie. And last but not least, we have Damian Delano playing Michael Jordan himself. As I already mentioned, I really like the dialogue in this movie. It's quick, it's witty. It brings a lot of energy to what would be a rather boring story without the humor in there. While it's a very simple story at its core, the dialogue definitely elevates it. The actors absolutely elevate it. They all work really great with each other. They all have good chemistry. You got a couple in there who have worked with each other more than once. So when you put all that together, overall, it's a pretty fun journey to go on. I know it sounds like I have nothing but good things to say about this movie, but that is definitely not the case. So with that, let's get into some negatives. And unfortunately, the first negative thing I have to say about this movie has to do with Michael Jordan. I don't think the actor Damian Delano did anything wrong whatsoever. In fact, I think it's the filmmakers that did something a little bit wrong. I understand their intentions behind it, but in execution, it came off as a little bit goofy. And before I say this, it is a little bit of a spoiler, but I also think it'll help manage expectations going into the film. That being, they don't show his face, and from what I can remember, don't even let you hear his voice. They do show clips of the real Michael Jordan from both his childhood and also from his professional days. But when you have a scene where he's in the room trying to basically have a conversation with somebody and he's not talking and you don't get to see his facial expressions whatsoever, it feels a little odd. And I do think the intention behind that was to not take focus off of the main characters that we have in the film. But like I said, in execution, it comes off as a bit goofy, and honestly, I think it takes more attention away from the characters than it would if they did show his face. Another thing I really didn't care for was the need to show 80s references in a montage in the very beginning. Again, a bit of a spoiler, telling you what happens in the very beginning, but hey, it's just a montage of showing 80s movies, TV shows, music, products, all that sort of stuff. And not just for movies, but sports movies in particular. I've seen that done more than once, and I think it's kind of tacky, it's overdone. I wish they wouldn't have done that in the film because it kind of started the film off on a not so positive note for me. But I will say the further along they go, the less they feel the need to make those references. The last real complaint I have is actually about the story itself. Yes, I do like the story for the most part. It's simple, not every story needs to be huge and extravagant. But at the same time, since we know the history of it, we obviously know that Michael Jordan signed with Nike and made Air Jordan shoes, or else we wouldn't have had this movie. So any of the dramatic tension that they try to have throughout the film doesn't always play out as well as they should. Like I said in the beginning, this movie would probably be boring if not for the dialogue and the actors we have in this film. So I don't think it's quite enough to make this a really good movie in my opinion, but I still had some fun with it. So when it comes to my ranking, Air from 2023 is a discounted ticket. Overall, it's a pretty fun story, but out of all the historical biopics I've ever watched, this one didn't really make me want to look more into it after I watched it. I did have more fun with it than I was expecting, but at the same time, it's nothing that's going to end up on my top 10 best of this year. And before I wrap this video up, I wanted to mention that going into this movie, I didn't know much. I watched a couple trailers at most. So by the time I got into the movie and they started dropping those F-bombs, I thought, holy crap, is this movie rated R? So I sneakily go to look at my phone in the theater, and surprise, surprise, it is a rated R movie. I was not expecting this from this movie, and it worries me a little bit because I feel like that might hurt the box office a little bit. You're already competing with a big movie like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which is a family film. A lot of families are going to be going to see it this weekend, and it's also Easter weekend, so families are more likely to be together, not going to rated R films. So I feel like the box office on this movie might bomb a little bit, unfortunately, but hey, it's still worth checking out if you're interested in it. If you're not, maybe wait until it comes on streaming. But there's my review for 2023's Air. Have you seen the film? Tell me down in the comments below. What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Have you not seen it? Are you planning on watching it anytime soon? Why or why not? Comment that down below as well. Really, any comments you have for me, I'd love to hear from you. I respond to as much as I can. But do me a favor and leave a like on this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will see you in the next one.